Hi guys, this is Chapter 2, Lesson 4, Writing Linear Equations. The first form that we're going to talk about is slope-intercept form. If you know the slope or can find the slope from a graph and you have the y-intercept, you can write a linear equation in slope-intercept form. So to do that, first of all, you need to be able to identify if a point is in fact the y-intercept. In this case, we do have the y-intercept. Remember, the x-coordinate is 0 if you're looking at the y-intercept. And m is 6. So let's talk about slope-intercept form. It's in the form y equals m, where m is the slope, mx plus b. And b is the y-intercept. So we know that 4 is the y-intercept from this point. So the y-intercept is 4, therefore the b value is 4. And the slope, m, is 6. All you do is fill in the slope and the y-intercept. So we'll have y equals 6x plus 4. Now if you have 2 points, and you don't have the slope, you need to use the slope formula to determine what slope is. And remember, the slope formula is m equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. I'm going to let negative 4, negative 2 be 0.1 and 0, 2 be 0.2. And notice this one has a 0 as its x-coordinate, so therefore it is the y-intercept. So I'm just going to make a note to myself that b equals 2. Now, come back over to slope, and let's plug in our information. We're going to do 2 minus a negative 2, those are the y values, over 0 minus a negative 4. The signs change in both of them because you are minusing a negative. You have 2 plus 2, which is 4, over 4, which is 1. So the slope, or m, equals 1, and b equals 2. So we just fill in y equals 1x plus 2, or you could say y equals x plus 2. Another form that we'll discuss in this chapter, or in this lesson, is point-slope form. So in order to write the equation in point-slope form, you need to have one point and the slope. Remember, if you're given just two individual points, you always are going to have to find the slope. So if you're given a graph, you can count to figure out the slope. Otherwise, you'll use the formula. But no matter what, you gotta have slope. You only plug in for point-slope formula in y1 and x1 and the slope. So in the case of this problem here, where we have a point 1, 1, and the slope is negative 2, I'm just going to fill in the information for this formula. Y stays the same. There's nothing to plug in there. Minus y sub 1 is 1, equals m, the slope is negative 2, times x, you don't plug anything in, it stays as x, minus x sub 1. And you leave it. You do not simplify, because if you simplify, then you are putting it into a different form. If it's asking for slope-intercept form, they want you to write it exactly in this format. Okay. Now, sometimes you may not be given the y-intercept as one of your points, and so you'll have to find a different way. So this is how you can write an equation in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, that passes through these 2 points, but you don't have the y-intercept. Now look, this point right here, the x value is not 0, the y value is. So this actually is an x-intercept, but we don't we don't use the x-intercept when we write in slope-intercept form. So the first thing we're going to do is find the slope. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, and fill in that information. I'm going to call this point 1 and point 2 here. So 1 minus 0 over negative 4 minus a negative 5. And of course, the negative negative here becomes positive. And I'm left with 1 over 1, which is just 1. So M equals 1. Now we use the point slope form and fill in y minus, pick one of these points. It doesn't matter which one. I'm going to choose the first point. Y minus 0 equals M times x minus a negative 5. That turns into plus a positive. In this case, I do want to simplify because it asked me to write in slope-intercept form. So y minus 0 is just y equals, if I distribute 1 into this, I will get x plus 5. So it is written in slope-intercept form now. Now let's say that you did not choose point 1, that you chose point 2. If you chose point 2, you would have y minus 1 equals, the m is 1 times x minus a negative 4. When you simplify, you would have y minus 1 equals still x plus 4, because this 1, if you multiply it in, you're not going to change anything. So x plus 4. We would need to add the 1 to both sides, and y would equal x plus 5. So in this case, they're going to work out to be the same result, or in any case, they will work out to be the same result no matter which point you choose. And the last thing that we're going to learn in this lesson is how to write equations of parallel and perpendicular lines. This information is really, really important. If you're writing an equation of a line that is parallel to another one, they will have the same slope. And you can think about that in terms of, if you have a starting point, in order to keep those lines from ever intersecting, you have to move up and over the same amount each time. If there's any difference in the slope, they're going to run into each other. With perpendicular lines, we need them to intersect in a special way. When they intersect, we need it to create 90-degree angles or right angles at that intersection point. So when you do perpendicular lines, you need the negative reciprocal. That's, remember, multiplicative inverse? When you flip, that's what you need here. But in this case, you have to change the sign. So if I told you that the slope is 1/2, the negative reciprocal of that slope is -2. It was positive, now it's negative. It was 1/2, and now it's 2/1. Let's try another one. If I said the slope was 7, -7, we'll make it -7. Then the negative reciprocal, first, it's going to be positive, and it was 7/1, so now it's going to be 1/7. So it's important that you know how to create a perpendicular slope. So in the case of this first example, it's asking us to write an equation of a line that is parallel to this line, and it passes through this point. So the first thing that we're going to do is we need to determine, do they want parallel or perpendicular? Where they want parallel, and so we need to figure out, well, what is slope? If we're going parallel to this line, then the slope is the same. So the slope, the m, is 3. Now we can use point slope form and simplify it into slope-intercept form. So we'll say y minus the point up here, 4, equals 3 times x minus 3, the x from the point, and then we rewrite or simplify. Y minus 4 equals, distribute the 3 in, so 3x minus 9. Move the 4 to the other side, plus 4, plus 4. Y equals 3x minus 5. That is your equation of the line that is parallel to the given line. This line also goes through this point, which means the point should be on the line. If I plugged in the x and the y value down here for x and y, I would get a true statement. And the next one, or the last one, is to practice a perpendicular line. So first, we want to determine the slope, and we know we're looking at perpendicular. The negative reciprocal. Well, this is written -6/1 if I wanted to look at it as a fraction. So I'm going to have to use the positive version and 1/6. So use point slope form. Y minus 3 equals 1/6 times x minus 2. Now you're going to have to do your fraction stuff in this. Y minus 3 equals 1/6x, distributed in, minus 1/3, or that's if I simplified it, because -2/1 times 1/6 is -2/6, but I simplified. Okay, so we bring over the 3 plus 3 plus 3. Now 3 can be written as 3/1, so I have y equals 1/6x minus 1/3 plus, I'm going to write 3/1. Let's change this one to a common denominator, times 3 times 3. So we'll have minus 1/3 here, plus 9/3. I'm just going to rewrite this equation. And so we have 9. This is the one that we're working with here. 9 minus the 1 is 8. Okay, so our official equation is y equals 1/6x minus 8/3. If you have any questions, let me know. Have a great day.